Om Banza, Sato Samaya, Mano Balaya, Banza, Sato Tenova, Dida Membawa, Sutu Kayo Membawa, Subu Kayo Membawa, Anoradam. Sorose de Mebraya, Datarakama Sudame, Zeda, Shriya, Guru Hung, ha, Ho, Bako. Sorata Tanka Damadarma Memazamar Dembawa, Ma, Samaya, Sato, So, the first here is the remind, the cultivation of the great thought, the mind, to achieve complete enlightenment. And we briefly touched from the Four Dharmas of Gampopa first, how the Dharma becomes the path, or no, how the Dharma becomes the Dharma to purify our mind through the reflection on the impermanence. And then second, Dharma becomes the path, how to free from samsara, by reflecting on the suffering of the complete samsara. Just it is very important to convince ourselves on this kind of understanding. Then, if you are only interested for individuals' liberation, that's not enough. We have to cultivate bodhicitta, as we're discussing, this. Because, as I mentioned, we have the Buddha nature. Buddha nature means, you see, complete. So to see yourself a complete, you need a way how to see that. So to see that way, bodhicitta, as I mentioned, bodhicitta is a universal thought, who is called a brave individual. To have that kind of understanding, you cultivate loving kindness, metta, compassion, karuna to all the sentient beings. Just look at in the Buddha's life, Devadatta, and that's called Gelong Lekpe Karma. There are many others, of course. They constantly create obstacles to Buddha's activities. Even Buddha, and Buddha always maintained love and compassion, never wavers. Look at this, you see. Some people think it's a sign of weakness, but it is a sign of the strength, courage. Buddha has no fear. No matter whatever obstacles manifest, no fear. Just doing the right things. And then also you look at the life of Milarepa. When Milarepa was in the mountain, of course he didn't have human beings so much to create obstacles, but there's so many demons, maras coming, creating obstacles, throwing rocks or the wars, millions of them manifest. But Milarepa never wavers, has never threatened by these. Instead, he just developed greater bodhicittas. He sees these as a great opportunity now, built his strength, courage. This is the great opportunity, see, not retaliating them, but giving them the ambrosia of the loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, and giving the nectar of the emptiness teaching. Yes, who's that? So like that, he was, Milarepa was practicing that way. So that's why he attained enlightenment, Buddhahood in single lifetime. Made the history in the Buddhist world. Now we have so many great teachers who talk about Vajrayana can achieve enlightenment in single lifetime. But there's no anyone who did that. No. But Milarepa did it. See. So, when, see, but Milarepa was not purposized by Buddha coming or by this and that. But first he faced like samsaric, lot of family obstacles, And after that, he recognized all this. And then he took revenge, all this, his families, those who met obstacles. But he realized the causality, the cause that he created. He was fully convinced about that reality, nature of the causality. So then he was desperate to seek the teacher. And he found the right teacher, Marpalosa, the great translator. Under his guidance, he went through great hardship, but he was totally determined because he was fully convinced, because he knows Marpa was the right teacher. No matter what Marpa treated him, he never changed. And there was no bad thoughts of Marpa. Because of these causes or conditions, then Marpa gave the complete transmission that he received from Narupa. Milarepa received all those teachings and then dedicated in the mountain to practice. Through that, then he attained enlightenment, Buddhahood. That's what now we have Four Dharmas of Gampopa. No, we're talking about seeing. So then we're now talking about bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is such a precious thought. That's what's called indispensable path for the enlightenment. Without bodhicitta, that's not possible to achieve Buddhahood. If you may practice highest view, Mahamudra, so forth. If you may practice highest yoga tantra, but without bodhicitta, not possible. So bodhicitta is the highway towards the Buddhahood. And the Buddhahood is the embodiment of the perfection of the practice of bodhicitta. Look at that. And everybody has opportunity to cultivate that bodhicitta. Buddha is giving Dharma to everyone, not some high leader of the lineage, not just to the leader of who sits on the high throne, but bodhicitta is given to everybody. Everyone has the opportunity to cultivate bodhicitta. So you say, understand that. With a lineage holder, Everyone is the lineage holder. If you have the ability, if you have the courage, Bodhicitta is the lineage from Buddha. And Bodhicitta is the lineage within you, but you just need to cultivate. See, cultivate within you, and you can become Buddha. See? So that's why Lord Chaitanya Sungpan mentioned, so Buddha's teaching is to everybody, not just only for Buddhists. So, but we who involved in the Buddha's teaching, we have the every responsibility to maintain this precious teaching. Maintain with the study and the practice, not just some ceremonies, no, not some just Buddhist customs, festivals, dance, singings, no. But Buddha's teaching is the study and the practice. Because it has to be within in the mind. It should touch our heart. Touch our heart through this wisdom of the Buddha's teaching. So Buddha's teaching has every possibilities to dissolve our confusion. So, but bodhicitta, as mentioned, is the key, is the cornerstone of the building of the Buddha's teaching. It's the backbone of the individual's enlightenment. So first, you look at this bodhicitta, how important this is. So bodhicitta is cultivated on the base of loving kindness and compassion. Because it's a condition. We want to attain Buddhahood for what? We want to attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. So in relation to this, you see, Buddha and the sentient beings are equal as a condition to cultivate bodhicitta. That mentioned in the Bodhicharya Avatara. No? Well, we respect Buddha, so why not sentient beings? Because without sentient beings, you cannot cultivate loving kindness, compassion. You may say, I love the rocks, but you may not say, I have compassion to this piece of rock. No. So we cannot develop loving kindness to the piece of rock. We cannot practice loving kindness, compassion. We cannot practice the compassion to the piece of rock or tree. It's because of the sentient beings. We may say, I love Buddha, but we cannot say, I have a compassion to Buddha, you know. But the sentient beings are the principal object or direct object that we develop love and compassion. So that's why sentient beings are such important condition to practice bodhicitta. Once we develop bodhicitta, you know, there's called aspiration bodhicitta and the action bodhicitta, you see. Aspiration bodhicitta first is very important step. That you say, I want to attain Buddhahood. You aspire to attain Buddhahood. Because of sentient beings, no? For the benefit of sentient beings, you aspire to attain Buddhahood. we say, I take refuge in the Buddha Dharma Sangha to attain the enlightenment for the benefit of sentient beings. If you take refuge in the Buddha Dharma Sangha for the benefit of sentient beings, you see, so sentient beings are such an important condition we to develop bodhicitta. Because as I mentioned, we survive because of sentient beings in the world. Like if I do a business, because of sentient beings, I become successful in my business. If I go to the desolate place, there's no one, how I can practice business, how I can get benefit or profit from the desert. I get benefit, profit, because of sentient beings. So you see, the owner of the company have to advertise how his products are good for the people, not for the piece of rock, not for some kind of a tree, dry place. So he has to kind of promise that his product is genuine. So as he promised his products are good for the people, when the people buy his product and his products are good, people keep buying. And how much profits he can make. But if his products are fake, people will buy once and then will not buy again because his problem. So all in the society, you see, if I continuously helping others sincerely, sharing in others, everybody will respect, you see. So you see, sentient beings are there. But if I deceive, if I misuse, then sentient beings will not trust me. It's not because of sentient beings, because I was ruined by my 3 poisons. So that's why even Buddha came in this world 2,600 years ago. Still, we take refuge in Buddha because Buddha's life always do things for the sentient beings' benefit. No matter what kind of difficulties Buddha faced, always there. Likewise, look at the Milarepa and this writer, Gampopa, such an enlightened master. Still, we quote, Gampopa said this, said that. Gampopa did this, because of their embodied the perfection of the bodhicitta. It's not just a scholar. Scholarship is good, first place, but application, the actual practice of perfection must come through the application, through the action. So after the aspiration bodhicitta, then there comes the action bodhicitta, That's called action bodhicitta. You want to attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings, you cultivate that bodhicitta, but you are not Buddha yet there. So we can say, yes, I have cultivated bodhicitta, but we are not Buddha yet there. Now what to do? So they call action bodhicitta. The 6 parameters. There are so many all Dhamma practices, but there's called 6 parameters. So these are how to dispel the confusion from the path. Generosity is not just only giving wealth. Generosity is first purifying our mind attachment to the wealth, attachment to myself, my confusion. This all need to be practiced through the practice of generosity. Like say, giving wealth, giving fearlessness, you see. This also now I'm talking about, you see, sentient beings. How you can achieve perfection of the generosity without the sentient beings. Because sentient beings are there, you give. It's because of the sentient beings. So to you accumulate merit, you to purify your mental attachment to your things. The sentient beings helps you to purify that. So sentient beings are so important factors for our perfection of the generosity. So bodhisattvas, when they grow step by step with the compassion and understanding of the emptiness. So again, I mentioned practice of emptiness is not a Buddhist belief. All phenomena, their nature is empty. It's not just empty of nothing, but there's empty of the independent self. As I was talking about a cup of tea, your cup of tea is a combination of many causes and conditions. See, so your tea is not the one independent thing. So if you divide all those causes and conditions, there's no independent tea. So your tea is illusory nature, but the combination of all those causes and conditions, that nature is called emptiness. So because of the combination of all those causes and conditions, there's nothing to attach to that. There's nothing to grasping on that. No. So the emptiness, when you practice emptiness, there's nothing to grasp, nothing to hold on. There's nothing to fixate it. So these all, we get help from sentient beings that we practice Dharma. So then we practice this emptiness step by step. Right now, emptiness is just an idea we have because we have not realized. We know everything is under the condition of causes and condition. Their nature is emptiness. But we have very little practice on this, you see. So we don't have experience on that. Once we have experience on that, then you realize, oh, everything's just nature of the emptiness. You know, in the Heart Sutra, it's very famous. No? The form is emptiness, and emptiness is the form. You see, there's no separation. It's more easy to understand the form is emptiness, but it's harder to see emptiness is the form. But you have to understand both are equal. Form is emptiness and emptiness is a form. It's equal. the very form that you are seeing in front of your eyes, that cannot be separated from the emptiness. You see, that's the reality. But we don't have the full practice. Some people say, how we should see that? So to practice. There's no magic. There's no negotiation. We just have to go through step by step, purify, meditate, release all this attachment, grasping, aversion, delusions, and go forward, you see. Then form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Form is no other than emptiness, you see. Form and emptiness is also no other than form, you see. This four corner of this. So then from there it goes to feeling, perception, formation, consciousness. So this five skandha. So at all you can say the skandha is emptiness, and emptiness is skandha. You can say that, you see. It makes the complete, you see. So you practice this. So that's why the mind is so delicate. When you have, it's the mind when we have all this habit of the confusion. I don't see the form is empty. I see the form is real. When the form is beautiful, I have attachment. When the form is ugly, I have aversion. It's based on my ignorance. See? Now look at this, you see. Then I study a little more further. This form, what you are seeing, that you have attachment, is all just manifestation of many causes and conditions. It can change any time. So when we have these all perspectives, then I release some attachment. My grief of this attachment, I reduce. The pernicious attachment to the form is released. Step by step, I purify. Then with this, I release ignorance, aversion, step by step. Then there's a possibility I can see the form is just illusory nature. It's just a reflection. It's just a combination of many causes and conditions. You see? And you see, through that, then I can practice my generosity. Even I can give my body, my hands, my heads, you see. I can give these things to others, and I get the perfection of the practice of generosity. It's because of the sentient beings. So what I'm here saying, I'm saying sentient beings are as important as the Buddha to perfect our practice. Buddha is, we respect, we take refuge, because Buddha gave all these teachings. And now sentient beings, the actual condition makes us a good practitioner because of sentient beings. I can achieve the perfection of generosity because of the sentient beings. So that's why I say, the practice of bodhicitta, sentient beings are most important factor to achieve the perfection of my Dharma, my bodhicitta practice. So that's called, as mentioned, action bodhicitta. It's possible I can achieve this even this 21st century, you see. So these are the very important tool in the world that know how Buddha's teaching is. It's not just being a nice, kind, and like these things, oh, you are wonderful. These teachings are practical, that everybody can practice. If we, individual has the ability, can communicate these teachings to all others. So Buddha's teaching is called Dharma. Dharma is wisdom. See? So then, you see, the action bodhicitta, as I mentioned, the first from the sixth paramita, first is called practice of generosity. So giving fearlessness to others. Those who are confused, those who have such a great fear, you can relate, of course, conditional individuals, those who are dependent to the mental capacity of those individuals. You can share the wisdom. You can heal their mind. And they may achieve such a great mental ability. So giving fearlessness. So everything is impermanent. There's nothing to fear. Everyone in the samsara is state of suffering. There's nothing to admire in the samsara. We should admire for the enlightenment, Buddhahood. Oh. So giving fearlessness, then giving Dharma teachings. Those who fear in the flood, helping them. Those who fear in whatever their life, supporting them, helping them, is also practice of generosity. So generosity is not just only giving wealth, but there's a lot of opportunity to give anything. Sentient beings to free from their confusion, their suffering. No? Even those they are angry, you can share the Dharma teachings skillfully, without expectation. So one practice is important, without expectation. Because you want sentient beings just be happy, free from suffering. So don't expect anything. This is very important. If we have high expectation, then we're suffering because we may not fulfill our expectation from others. But if we release the expectation, if we just share others, and that itself is the great Dharma practice. Sometimes we have high expectation, and I did this, did that, and then other people don't appreciate. My expectation is not fulfilled, and I'm so disappointed. No, there's no appreciation of what I did. And all what you did become pointless, no benefit. But do it out of bodhicitta. Do it out of artistic thought, sincerely. Whether others appreciate or not appreciate, doesn't matter. You done your part. Now it's their part, whether they appreciate or not. You don't expect. No? So that's called free. You are free. No? Free of the expectation. This is one of the very important. So through that, you just need to maintain the Dharma teachings in the world. As I mentioned, not just through this kind of ceremony, not just prayers, not just chanting something, but through study, practice. Dharma survived until now because there's a benefit. You look at the history from Buddha until now. Dharma is not survived by chanting prayers, powerful mantras. It may last 1 generation, 2 generations, but may not stay too long. But we need Dharma teachings which can make sense in the society, which helps in the society. So this I'm just saying. So then is the next perfection is called moral ethics, morality. What means Buddhist morality? All the virtuous thoughts, actions are kept. All the non-virtuous thoughts and actions are purified. That's called moral ethics. Having said that, you say, look at the 10 virtues. If you just count 10 virtues, what are those 10 virtues? And look at the 10 non-virtues. If you look at these 10 virtues and 10 non-virtues, the first, taking life, human beings or even animals, nobody will appreciate taking life. Even animals, they run away because they cherish their life. They have fear in their life. No. So all these 10 virtues, it's not a Buddhist belief. It's not a Buddhism. It's a universal. Where there's no any religion, if you practice 10 virtue, all the people there will appreciate, rejoice. If such kind of leader is there in the country who practices the 10 virtues and asking to avoid 10 non-virtues, all the people in that country will appreciate. Doesn't matter what they believe or even they don't believe. That's called moral ethics. Because 10 non-virtues are cause of suffering. And 10 virtues are cause for peace and happiness. If the whole society are appreciating 10 virtues, how that world, how that country will have a great peace, harmony. You see, look at just, well, there's 10 non-virtues. If anybody practices, people will not appreciate. People will not join to that. If they joined, they are only suffering. Some cult groups who has such kind of, that kind of confused thoughts, organizations, doesn't last long. It just now disappears with bad repetition. See, look at this. So that's called moral ethics, morality. So Buddha's teaching, as I mentioned, based on the causality. Moral ethics is very important right from the beginning to the highest. Even Vajrayana tantric practice, the morality is the foundation. We have to have that kind of wisdom, understanding. That helps us to purify our mind. Basically, as I mentioned, we need to purify our 3 poisons, reduce these 3 poisons. So that's called moral ethics. And third, it's called patience. You see, patience relate to the, our Dharma practice when we have suffering, mentally suffering, physically suffering. We have to have a such first sense of wisdom. If it is worthwhile to practice the patience or not. There's some, so we go through suffering without any benefit. Some wrong individual give you some special advice or give some instructions how to go through suffering and no benefit. That's a useless kind of practice of patience. See, like in the hell realm, the individual is suffering so much. Even though nobody has instructed to go through there, but due to our karma, we go through that suffering so much. But despite all the suffering, no one has achieved enlightenment by going through in the hell realm, So suffering will not help us to free from the suffering. But to free from suffering, we need this kind of special wisdom instruction. How to accumulate merit, how to accumulate wisdom, how to develop the mental enlightened qualities. Not just going through the suffering. That doesn't help us to free from suffering. No. So we have to know how to practice the patience. Sometimes we go through a lot of suffering without any benefit. So look this. So patience is to reduce our mental, the energy of the negative thoughts. To reduce our anger, aversion, to reduce our attachment is not an easy thing. No. Our whole mind, the world is occupied by these mental afflictions. Especially nowadays, you see, look at the advertisement in the world, in the TV or anywhere when you look at the advertisement. All the advertisement is just to increase your attachment. So if you have this, you'll be this. If you have this, your life will be better. This, that, this, your life will be more enjoyable. So we need a Buddha's wisdom, how to reduce these mental afflictions. That's called practice of patience. Patience doesn't mean, just torture yourself. So need such great wisdom, a skill, how to handle that. When that happens, when the wisdom is there, then even there's some difficulties, you go through joyfully. You practice it. So as earlier mentioned, loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta are the indispensable to practice towards enlightenment. When we encounter confusion, problems, difficulties, you see, these are, as I mentioned, it's not a Buddhism, not a religion. This is the way, a method, how to free from suffering. It's not a belief, If you practice belief, if you practice the patience, I believe you will achieve enlightenment. It's not that. If you practice practically patience, you will be, not only before become Buddha, even at that moment, you can appreciate, you can achieve peace, happiness. There are some individuals, maybe not everybody, but some individuals who hate you, saying all the bad things, but in your mind, build the strength, compassion. No, don't lose your compassion. Don't lose your strength, courage. And then there's a chance to that individual. Say thank you, and that individual will surprise. Even I did all these things, but saying thank you, why, And you can say, you helped me for my practice. And that person can become your friend, best friend. Instead of you're fighting for that. This is what's called, how the great Bodhisattvas got a victory from this. That's why, like when you read Milarepa's life story, all those demons, Maras, host of the Maras, they just manifest and try to destroy Milarepa. And Milarepa, out of great wisdom, compassion, courage, and they all are just subdued, and they all become his disciple, you see. And such great Dharma practitioners, and Dharma guidance, you see. Something like this kind of is possible, So anyhow, what Dharma practice is our mental confusion, delusion. These need to be removed from our mind. That's called Lamtuba Seva, the path, the confusion, despair from the path. Means while you are taking the Dharma into the path, we practice this step by step. See? Okay, what we're doing, how we're doing. So this, then next, perseverance. We need joyous effort to practice this. And the fifth parameter is called samadhi, meditative concentration. We always, nowadays, the life is so hectic that the shamatha looks impossible. But you should practice in the morning, in the evening, whatever is possible. Bring your mind in the right place, take a deep breath. So everything is impermanent. Everyone is suffering. So develop sense of compassion, loving kindness. So this way, all these gross mental activities can handle more carefully, peacefully. And there's more possible to achieve more peace and happiness. That's called shamatha. Then next, wisdom, So wisdom here now, next comes this, the fourth Dharma was called the confusion dawn as wisdom. There's different. In Tibetan, it's called Tuba Yeshisu Sharwa. Tuba Yeshisu Sharwa. Tuba is confusion. Yeshisu Sharwa. Yeshi here, wisdom, not just wisdom, it's called primordial wisdom. Dawn as wisdom, or dawn into wisdom. This is the earlier we had those here's we're talking about this, as I mentioned, the three mental poisons, so forth, all the mental afflictions, they are confusion. They are mental afflictions. So all our work is to purify them. First, through this meditation, we minimize them, build our strength to reduce their ability, you see, step by step. First, loving kindness, compassion, reflect on the impermanence, looking at the suffering of samsara, sentient beings, and then cultivating bodhicitta, aspiration bodhicitta, action bodhicitta, and practice of generosity, moral ethics, so forth. All our focus is just to reduce these mental afflictions, you see. See, there one, see, here the Indian, the logician Dharmakirti said here, when there is a self, there others are apprehended. So when there's I, self, then there's called others, you, others. From this self and others, then comes the desire and aversion. I have attachment, desire for myself. Then I have aversion to others because I want to gain. I want to be happy and not you. No, there's kind of. From these two, attachment, oneself, and aversion, others, false rises. All means all the conflict then manifests from that, you see. As I mentioned, it's not a Buddhist. This whole samsara is that from that, you see. When there's a group, the groups are split because of that, you see. And they are fighting each other because of that, you see. So the root of all faults, all this conflict, all these problems, the view of transitory collection means the view on the grasping the self. This, the five skandha that we have. See. So there, Nagarjuna said here, you see, as long as there is the apprehension of the aggregates, the aggregates is a skandha, When there's apprehension, when there's notion, so when we have said, this is my skandha, I have this. For so long, there's apprehension of I. Then there comes I. When, with the apprehension of I, there will be karma. Then there's I. Then, which is I means self, ignorance. See? When there's ignorance, then as earlier mentioned, desire and aversion. Through this ignorance, desire, aversion, there comes the karma. We create the karma. So karma is, before it used to say, Buddhists believe karma, something like you believe, otherwise there's not. But it's karma is the action, the cause you create through this interaction. Then, when we have these mental afflictions and a cause, then there comes rebirth, life after life, life after life. It's the rebirth, it's the continuation, it's the link. Rebirth is the link of the mental affliction and the cause. See? So when this we have, see, then you see, Shantideva said here, whatever violence is in the world, all the violence, see, and in our individual's life, the violence of my sickness, the violence of my mental health, the violence in the family, the violence in the society, all this, whatever violence is in the world, whatever sufferings is in the world, all come from apprehending self, grasping to the self. So what does this evil spirit do to you? So you look at this. What's good for you? I go through all this suffering, difficulties. It's because of myself, my notions grasping to the self. And I created all the karma. I cherish myself the day when I born up until now. How much I succeeded to achieve all the peace and happiness. See, I have none. So now, today I change this. Not just for myself, but all sentient beings by cultivating bodhicitta. My aggregates, the five aggregates that I have, five skandha, from today I will utilize not just to fulfill my ego, rather to benefit other sentient beings. First that. Then as I mentioned, there are nature of the combination of many causes and conditions. So it's a five skandha, you say, no? Form, you divide, form, feeling, perception, formation, consciousness. If you divide this into five pieces, there's no one. The form, the body that I have, divide. You cannot find one independent. It's all just illusory nature. Just look at this. What's the essence there? There's no any essence, you see. I try to fulfill my ego. It's never satisfied, never fulfilled. So today I give such a delicious lunch, eat. So now thinking tomorrow where I can get a better, more delicious. Never satisfied. No. But how much I go through. So look at this. This very nature is called confusion. Now how I should understand the confusion itself is nothing but its primordial wisdom. First, you see, through this, as I mentioned, through this investigation, you don't find there's one independent thing. See, so that you see in the so first he said here in the Buddha said in the conceptualization is a great ignorance by which one falls into the ocean of samsara. So all our talks that I mentioned, all the mental afflictions here, not only just conceptualization, relation with the three portions. So we create the ocean of samsara. Then, abiding in the meditation, concentration of non-conceptualization, like the sky, there will be no doers. So this means when you meditate in the emptiness, look at your mind, you meditate, all the mental activities, like attachment. Where's the attachment? It exists inside the body, outside, form, feeling, perception. It's nowhere. It's just a mirage. It's like a rainbow. So that's called non-conceptualization. Means it's not that there's nothing to think about it, but through the wisdom that your desire exists nowhere. Your anger is not exist. Your anger is not exist anywhere. It's just a habit. You are so habituated, as I mentioned earlier, to manifest attachment, to manifest anger. But just meditate, relax. Here, meditate means calm your mind. And where's the desire? Where's all these mental activities? There was just a bubble in the water. The bubbles manifest from the water, dissolve into the water. It goes to nowhere. So that's called nirvana, you see. So that very your anger, mental delusions, attachment, so forth, that nature itself is nothing but empty. That's what it's called. The form is empty, and emptiness is the form. Look at that, you see. That's why it said in the Guya Samaja, the great Tantra, what Buddha taught in that, said all the phenomena are devoid of inherent existence. All that you see, hear, smell, taste, touch, everything, the big mountain, the small mountain, the great ocean, this great being, this poor being, all this, their nature is, it is what is called devoid of inherent existence. They are not exist as we perceive, as we think of. It's all illusory nature. It's all just a manifestation, Like say, sometimes you can hear the news from the ocean. There comes a tornado, or it's called storm, hurricanes. Oh, the big wave of the wind blows in the ocean, and it steers all the water in the ocean, and makes just like a mountain of the storm. It destroys all that area, houses and everything, But when they disappear, where it's gone? It's gone to nowhere. Look at our own mind. When these mental activities manifest negative, it destroys your all peace, and it destroys others' peace as well. But when that mental activities disappear, it's gone nowhere. And you feel you are regretted. But when you don't have Dharma, when you have no wisdom, we are just enslaved by these negative thoughts, mental affliction, and we suffer helplessly. But if we have the Buddha's wisdom, these teachings, they are just a manifestation. They're just a reflection. As I mentioned, they're just a mirage. So that itself is nothing but empty. That's what's called the confusion known as wisdom. So here said, the Samaja Buddha said, all phenomena are devoid of inherent existence. Aggregates, the 5 aggregates, the 12 elements, and souls of perception, apprehended and apprehender are abandonments. They are not exist. They all are just manifestation. They come and go. There's no independent existence. See, no self or phenomena is sameness. See, equal, basically. Everything has no self. On your table, look at your cup, your plate, your paper, your pen, your iPhone. No. There's those individual, all these things. But if you investigate each of all their nature is empty. It's the same. It's equal. The delicious food, where's delicious food? Not delicious food are all equal. So reduce attachment to the delicious food. Reduce aversion to not good food. This all are same taste. That's called same taste. One's mind is unborn from the beginning. So your own mind, that all the activities manifest from the mind. If you carefully investigate and with mindfulness you meditate, it's come from nowhere. It exists to nowhere. It disappears to nowhere. That's called unborn. It doesn't mean you cannot think, you know. You can think all these things, but they come and go. They come from nowhere. It's all conditional. When you see a beautiful person, there comes the attachment, desires. When you see a person you don't like, there comes your aversion, anger. It's all conditional. It's not real. So having said that, when you know how to meditate, this all can handle peacefully, wisely, through your mindfulness and awareness, you see. So that's what's called, is called the nature of emptiness, you see. Emptiness doesn't mean there's nothing. No. What you see, hear, sound, their nature is just a manifestation, it's a mission. Like the moon's reflection in the lake. You see the reflection of the moon in the lake, but that's not the moon. That is conditional. The moon in the sky, and the lake, the water. And the water is so calm, peaceful, and there's a reflection of moon. I can't attach to that reflection. It's just a reflection. So everything in our life, everything is just a reflection. So reduce our attachment, reduce our anger and the delusion. That very reflection itself is nothing but emptiness. So from that you see, when these our mental poisons, when you realize it's just assimilation, bad habit, their nature exists nowhere. Their nature is emptiness. They manifest, but their nature itself is not anger, not attachment. It's just illusory nature. And then there comes the great peace, happiness. That peace comes from nowhere, just only by realizing there's nothing to attach. There's nothing to be angry about. You see? And then you see that very your attachment itself is nothing but wisdom. So that's called wisdom. Premortal wisdom is not created by your wisdom, but itself is primordially, the nature is emptiness. That's called wisdom. So realizing emptiness is the wisdom. So you need to meditate on this. See how. So Gampopa, his great wisdom, gave us this kind of message. We poor Dhamma practitioners, So if we have the ability, if we have the apprehension, capacity, we have all these possibilities, but we have to go step by step. As a beginner, first we have to understand how to practice Dharma, how Dharma can become Dharma. As mentioned, we don't misuse Dharma. We don't use Dharma for samsaric confusion. Then, once we know how to practice Dharma, then we know how the Dharma can follow the path. Non-attachment to samsara. See? Then after that, see how all the confusion that is there, how to dispel confusion from the path through the meditation, practice step by step. So this is called Lamrim, a gradual path, step by step. In the jewel ornament of liberation is the most detailed way how to practice, you see. If you practice jewel ornament of liberation, this is one of the best book you can find in the Buddhist world. No, it's very simple, no, very easy to comprehend. Anybody can reflect on this. It's not that so big, complicated, but it's the right amount. And from this samsaric sentient being, it follows to the Buddhahood. No? So we go through that step by step, you see. And Dharma practitioner. So what we need here is, there's one, time is running. I have the one said here. I just want to quote it. This very nice. With morality, one goes to the higher realms. With the view, one achieves the supreme state. There was the foremost disciple of Nagarjuna. In his 400 stanza, mentioned this, What that means is avoiding all the non-virtues and practicing all the virtues, one will achieve all the best condition, precious human life, meeting the spiritual masters, all these things. Once who have these all conditions, then it's with the view, this view means realization of the Mahamudra. Achieve the supreme state means enlightenment, Buddhahood. So we cannot ignore morality in the view of the emptiness. Some teacher may say, in the Mahamudra, in the Dzogchen, there's no such called virtue, non-virtue you enjoy, Mahamudra, Dzogchen, they cannot ignore the causality, because the causality themselves is emptiness. There's no emptiness besides the causality or the samsara, because we have to realize samsara as the nirvana. So that, you see, we have to have such a pure moral conduct. With the pure moral conduct, then it makes all the perfect condition to realize the emptiness. Means to realize the Mahamudra, which means all these poisons that we have in the mind, the 3 poisons, the 5 poisons, or 84,000 of mental afflictions, whatever you call, their nature is nothing but wisdom. So these are based on the right causes and conditions. that we practice. So in that way, the samsara itself is nothing but nirvana. Because the nature of the samsara itself is not exist inherently. It's all conditional. That conditional itself, if you know nature of emptiness through the great wisdom, special insight, then that's called enlightenment. So that's Buddha nature, that what we have. Right from the beginning, itself is nirvana. And we reveal that Buddha nature through these steps. And samsara becomes, or samsara itself is nirvana. That's what's called the confusion dawn as wisdom. Make sense? Everyone is happy now. Now everyone is enlightened. I think time is, Anne told me we have to stop at the right time. Is that right? Now you say,
yes, yeah.
Okay, now first you take a deep breath. Exhale all the tension out. Just please reflect during this session. All the teachings briefly I touched, step by step. It's very important. No? Of course, I'm so limited on this. Don't satisfy that what I said here. What I said is just introduction, just to introduce you. So you study, practice more on this precious teaching. And just a mention, take a deep breath, exhale all the tension, and rejoice. And Anne, please say some dedication prayers.
Okay, and I will share them here.
Yes.
Through this merit, may all beings attain the omniscient state of enlightenment and conquer the enemy of faults and illusion. May they all be liberated from this ocean of samsara and from its pounding waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death.
Chanjo semjo Rinpoche maje banam kejuroje keba nyamba meba kone kondo pewara jo. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah, see you next week.
Yes, next week, Rinpoche kindly agreed to start with the 7th chapter of the Bodhisattva. He said, this is like a good thing, in the beginning of the year, we start with this inspiration of enthusiasm or diligence to do virtuous things. So thank you so much, Rinpoche, for today's teaching and for continuing to teaching us.
Yes.
And sorry, we have to leave now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.